Welcome back to What's Your Hair Story, a digital media series exploring the hair stories of Black women. Today, I'm sitting with Jennifer Richards, who is a dear friend, a mentor to me, a drama therapist, and just an amazing person all around, and also founder of It's Yours Creative Arts Therapy. And so, welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And so, I want to just kind of start off. So, I would say you're one of the people that I feel like have been there from the beginning of this creation of What's Your Hair Story.
Mhm,
I started What's Your Hair Story when I was a student at NYU, and I started it off with Kaleidoscope Repertory Theater Company with Adam and everything.
mhm,
And you were one of the people that participated in the workshop that I brought into Kaleidoscope. And so
mhm.
I feel like you've kind of been there from the start. And so thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. And also thank you for being here for the many different stages of this thing that I'm building.
It's
Um,
a pleasure. It's nice to watch you grow in something you believe in. It's beautiful.
yeah, thank you so much. And so I know a little bit about your hair story, but I'd like you to kind of walk the people listening and watching through your hair story. So starting off wherever you want to start with, but give us a brief kind of like overview and walkthrough of your relationship with your hair. Like where does it start versus to now?
Okay, so it's a long and complicated story. I am brown skin. My mother's very fair skinned. My father was a little lighter than me, and they both would have quote unquote good hair. And I never really thought much of hair. I always had very long hair. And in some ways that made me feel special because most people didn't have like waist long hair, but I did. And side note, having learning disabilities, you're always looking for something that makes you special. So hair kind of made me special. Uh, and so I didn't really think that much about it until I was about 13 and I started to like boys. And two of my friends are light skinned. So we're walking down in the neighborhood trying to meet boys, and they were calling us, and I turned around and I looked, and he said, "Ain't nobody talking to you, Blackie."
Oh,
And so from then on, I was like, "Well, I can't be light skinned, but I can have long hair." And then it was on. It was like my whole being revolved around having waist length hair or having middle of my back hair. That was the that was the only thing that I felt made me beautiful, is if I had this long hair. Maybe then boys would want me, then I would be special, then I would stand out. So it became this thing. And as you learn to take care of your own hair, it breaks off. It's not the greatest. Um, I relaxed my hair for a very long time, even after everybody stopped. Um, but yeah, it took a long time. It took a long time. The only time I really chose was when Salt and Pepper had Push It and they had the lines in their hair. So it wasn't really that long. It was only like shoulder length and I had the lines. That was the only time that was my choice. Um, so yeah, it was this whole big thing about conditioners and beauticians. And it was when I finally settled on one beautician, found the conditioner that worked for me. And and then also that piece had to grow out, which took about 3 years. And yeah, I think it was around college that my hair started finally growing and I started feeling beautiful. And also, side note, this is the 80s where it was like Lisa Bonet's and Troy Bayers, and that was the look. And if you didn't look like that, you really didn't get love. There were actually songs, rap songs, about why men didn't like dark-skinned women. And yeah, and it would really affect me. It would really affect me. Men would constantly say they only like light-skinned women. And I had a biracial friend that kind of looked more white than she did black. And so, and men would just flock to her. And it wasn't, I'm trying to say this in a kind way, she wasn't the prettiest woman I had ever seen, but she was the lightest with the straightest hair. Because her hair was like those big curls, like Italian looking curls. And they would tell her often and in front of me that they didn't like dark skinned women. For a long time, I wanted to be light skinned because that's what seemed like all the boys wanted. And it was around my 20s where I was like, and my mother would always say, "You don't understand how beautiful it is to be brown skinned with long hair. It's this beautiful look." She said she loved it. She had a friend in high school that looked like that, and that's kind of what she thought was beautiful. And it was in my 20s that I was kind of like, "Oh yeah, this is kind of cool of a look."
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that was it. It was only until I reached my 40s and went natural that I really started to embrace like whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. After we did the hair, I'm trying to think of the
The hair story.
hair intervention,
Yeah.
I really started going for it. I tried this cute wig that was like puffy and my hair is not usually this tame. It's just really washed. It's usually like big. And that was one of the time that I was like, forget it. Now I have an undercut, it's shaved in the back. I'm doing all kinds of things, but it took a lot of growth. It took a lot of change. Um, it took a lot of programming and understanding that hair doesn't make me beautiful. So many times I would get my hair down to where I would want it, and then the beautician would come and chop it all off. You get that beautician that was scissor happy and then cut it down. And you know what? The last year I had my hair really long, it wouldn't do anything. It barely even curled. It was when I cut it that I realized that's where it is. They just get too stretched out. It just gets too stretched out. It doesn't do anything. So I was holding on to this long hair for years, not doing anything, mostly putting it in a ponytail or a bun. But really what it needed to be was cut, and I ended up looking a lot younger. And it was bouncy and it helped curl. So it made it click in my head that holding on to this long hair is not it. It's just not it. I'm holding on just to length. And and it didn't look uneven. It didn't look like it needed a trim. It was just old hair. And the difference in the hair and I realized that kind of a long hair, maybe it looked cute on me when I was younger, but now as a maturing woman, it's not as cute. And even now keep my hair around this length because it doesn't fit and I don't feel like I need it anymore to feel beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's such a beautiful realization to have that like we don't have to attach so much of our like worth and beauty to the length of our hair. I feel like that's something that a lot of Black women can relate to. And because when we grow up, right, we're hearing all these messages from friends, from family, from media that like long hair equals beautiful. And so we grow up in attaching so much meaning to having long hair and attaching it, to how we see ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. And so breaking free from that and choosing to wear your hair shorter is beautiful. It's like it feels like finding yourself in a new way or like realizing and understanding yourself in a different way that's like
Yeah.
outside of what we're told we're supposed to do or how we're supposed to think about ourselves, especially when it comes to our hair.
Yeah, it's like so many people would always, and I was a big kid. Like up until like 12 or 13, I was a big kid. So the only compliments that I got was about my hair. Oh,
Right.
you have such beautiful hair. You have such beautiful hair. Don't ever cut your hair. Oh, if I only had your hair. Um, but the other side of it that I was thinking a lot about is the friendships I had around me, right? Um, and I don't want to be like, oh, poor me. But remember one time telling my friends, like, oh, my hair looks terrible. They were like, you don't get to have a bad hair day. You don't. I do get to have a bad hair day. And I do feel, I felt insecure where my hair wasn't like, I used to like to put my hands through it and if it didn't fall right or the curls didn't hit right, it did affect me. But I wasn't allowed to speak to that. Um, One time somebody said, oh, you have nice hair. And I was like, and it was one day when I was particularly feeling it. And I was like, oh, yeah, just I really like the way it looks today and blah, 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 blah. That girl gave me such a look and walked away.
Mm,
It was like, I can't talk positively about it at the time. So here I am it's like so confusing, right? I'm holding on to this look. Um, I can't talk about when I don't feel good. I can't talk about when my hair is trimmed. I can't when they take too much off because of all of this. But I'm also that was the only thing that made me feel beautiful, right?
uh,
So it meant a lot to me when these things would happen. And there was never enough space for me to discuss it or talk about it or yeah, just discuss it. Let's discuss this,
yeah.
and not in a shameful way.
Hmm.
Because somebody say, I know why you keep your hair long because blah, 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 blah. And all I would say was, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Um, but let's discuss this. How about, you know, you don't need the hair to feel beautiful.
Hmm.
You don't need this because it's this internal struggle. Especially when I want to go natural. And everybody told me my hair would break off. And the big chop was just at that time was not an option for me. And for years I wanted to go natural, for years and years and years. But how could I take away the one thing that made me special? And then finally, my beautician, I don't know why I never asked this one. Yahida. I don't know why I never asked her to go natural when I finally did. And I've been going to her for years. She was like, let's do it. I was like, wait, what? She was like, we could do this. And she said it'll take about 2 years. Just stop perming it. And for 2 years, I kind of like braided the front because it's like the textures are different. The
Different.
texture here is very different than the texture here.
Mhm.
So I would braid this up and leave the back and just blow it out. And 2 years later, it was out. And then again, I had all this curly hair, which I didn't even know. Like I was perming my hair since I was 10. So
Yeah.
I didn't know what kind of texture hair I would have,
Mhm.
because all you see is right here.
Right. Yeah.
And uh, once again, I had this long curly hair that wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't really style it, couldn't really do anything with it. And I was like, just cut it and see what happens. And she cut it, and I've never had to go back again because this just looks better.
Yeah. Yeah. You found out like what makes you feel good or what like makes
Yeah,
you feel the most confident and comfortable,
yeah.
especially in regards to your hair. And I'm thinking about too, like the comment that a friend gave you of you don't get to have a bad hair day. And I'm thinking about how I feel like it's so the comment makes me think about how in society, Black women are really not allowed to have bad hair days. Like the expectation that our hair is always supposed to like be kept up and it's supposed
Mm,
to have to be laid and the
yeah,
braids have to can't be frizzy and the curls can't be frizzy and everything has to just look like
yeah.
very perfect or have to look a very certain way or else we
Mm,
get criticized or judged harshly. Or I'm even thinking too about how like a lot of Black women wear wigs and like how the
mm,
wig has to like almost look like it's growing out of your head or
mm,
else you're like faced with so much judgment and criticism from others.
mm.
And I just think about that so much because I'm like, I don't any other no other group, at least in my opinion, I think has to go through such scrutiny about their hair the way that Black women do. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. You hear white women talk about the messy bun. They just kind of throw their hair up and that's all they have to do, and they can go walking and nobody says anything to them about their messy bun. But
yeah,
for us, it's very different. Just to backtrack, she was the thing that she was telling me when she said you can't have a bad hair day was saying because your hair is long, it's never going to be bad. You shouldn't feel bad.
yeah,
It's great just the way it is.
yeah.
That's what she meant by you can't complain about it. You
Uh,
can't complain about how
yeah.
because your hair is too long to complain, which was.
Mhm.
But yes, Black women. I went to work the other day and I really needed to wash my hair and my edges were just puffing up and nothing I was doing was laying them down. And I was like, I'm going to work. But all day I was kind of like, oh,
Yeah,
oh God, I know they're talking about because it was just like
yeah, yeah.
everywhere and I just couldn't get them to lay down. And part of having long hair is how you treat it. So a lot of times I won't like put a lot of stuff on my hair. I won't brush it back because I don't want it to break off. So some days I really do have really bad hair days because I don't want to do these certain things to make it stay. But those kind of tricks don't work when my hair is really, really dirty and frizzy.
Mhm.
But and I always go, I'm such a bad Black person. I should really do something. I should fix this. And I put more water on it, and the more water the kinky hair gets, and it just starts.
But
It's it's just bad.
Mhm.
But I'm there to do a job, and I don't think the staff really cares as much as I care. I'm
Right.
sure some of them, of course, there's always somebody
Yeah.
who has something to say, but
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, and I'm curious too, because just from hearing about your hair story, well, two things. I'm thinking a lot about how colorism plays a lot into natural hair and just colorism plays a lot into hair and
mm,
like who is considered beautiful based off of their skin complexion and their hair, right? Like
mm,
I relate to that a lot of like I can remember having lighter skinned friends that had like long curly hair and like me feeling not as beautiful or not as attractive or desirable because I was darker and my hair would I used to wear my hair like my mom would style my hair and she would like put it in these like braids and like twists and stuff like that.
mm,
Like I was never really wearing my hair like out
mm,
that much. And so I just I can really heavily relate to that of like, not feeling as desired or like not feeling chosen or looked at found attractive by others and also something else too. Oh, I'm thinking about hair autonomy and I'm thinking
mm.
like listening to you speak about your hair journey. I'm curious, what does hair autonomy mean for you in your hair story? Because I feel like there's this collective idea of what hair autonomy can mean for Black women, but then I also think everyone has their own individual responses and ideas of what hair autonomy means to them. So I'm curious, what does hair autonomy look like and mean to you?
Mm. That is a very good question. And honestly, I don't even know. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
I think it's getting all the voices out my head about hair
Mm-hmm.
and doing what I feel
Mm-hmm.
looks best. Because there's always opinions. This looks good. A lot of people like my hair when it's like more tamed. I
Mm.
like it when it's wild. And but then I was like, oh, well, maybe if that looks better, I should, keep a little bit on the tame side. But it's up to me and what I want. And it's to get all the voices and the need for approval out my head.
Yeah.
I think that would be it.
Yeah. And I hearing you say that, I think about when we did the workshop with Kaleidoscope and you tried on like that purple wig that had the curls, like the afro
Yeah,
curl. And I'm thinking about how like I just remember seeing you and you looked so confident and you looked so free and you looked so like happy and excited about this wig that you had on in your hair. And so
yeah,
when you speaking about hair autonomy and not caring what other people think and just kind of like
mm,
doing your own thing when it comes to your hair, it makes me think of that moment. And then
yeah,
you cut your hair and you dyed it and it looked exactly like that wig that you tried on. Like
yeah,
that image comes to mind, that memory comes to mind when I hear you say that. Cause like I think that was like a really prominent moment of like hair autonomy, I think. Cause it was like I'm trying on this wig and it feels good and I like it a lot. And I think this is what I want for my hair. And
yeah,
going out and just doing it and like
yeah,
not, I'm not going to speak for you, but it seems like you were very fearless in that moment and just didn't really care about what anyone else has to say about it. You were like, this is
yeah,
what I want to do for me.
yeah. Because it was around the time when I started feeling, I want to say hair freedom,
Yeah.
right? I had unshackled myself from the belief of long hair and was willing, like I had the same hairstyle for like 20 years. Long, highlighted in the front, a couple of highlights in the middle, and then, because I would just get the crown done so the back would stay healthy. And I was just really free, like, okay, I'm not chained to how many inches it is past my bra strap.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm free. I'm free to cut it short. I'm free to do whatever I want. And in that moment, I was like, okay, it was so nice to not worry about how long it was anymore. It was nice to just see a haircut, cut it, and know it grows back. Because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, hair grows back.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
hair grows back. Remember when I started to really not worry about how long my hair was, I would look back and I'd be like, oh my God, it grew so much. But when you're in that age where every inch counts and how painful it is waiting each month for it to grow a little bit more, a little bit more. And when you finally give it up, there's so much freedom in that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much freedom, so much liberation. And also you give yourself more space to like truly experiment and play with your hair. Like I feel like when we have this super strong attachment to length, we limit ourselves to the kinds of styles and ways that we can express ourselves through our hair. And so I think it's very brave to be able to just be like, I'm gonna detach from this a little
Yeah.
bit and I'm just gonna like cut it and just kind of like not care anymore.
Yeah, there's a freedom to it because it does grow back. It
Yeah.
grows back. It comes back.
And I
And
yeah.
and and my whole world doesn't end. My whole world never ended when my hair was cut short, but it was that belief, and it's so much freedom to not have that belief anymore. It's just so free to be like, all right, it doesn't look good for now. It will grow back. I tried like a bob during the winter time when it was blown out straight. Okay, it didn't work out. I look like Auntie Gina. I like just made me look like such a church woman, and
Yeah.
that's everything I didn't want. And I was like, you know what? I'll just go back to curly, and I tried. At least I tried.
Yeah.
Before I would never have tried. I loved bobs, always loved bobs, but would never get one because then it was almost like who would I be if I didn't have hair?
Mm. Yeah, and mm, yeah, that's such a powerful question. It's such a striking question too, and I think it's a question that can be very scary. Like, who am I without my hair? I think it's very scary to think about, but I think once you go after it and you start
Mm,
to figure it out just a little bit, it can feel so liberating, so
yeah.
rewarding, and it allows you for a deeper understanding of yourself and who you are. And like, I can remember cutting all my hair off, and like, I saw my face for the first time, and I was like, oh my God, like this is what I look like. I was like, my face, like oh, I'm seeing myself. I'm like meeting myself again.
Yeah,
How like it almost felt like an out of body experience, but like in a good way. Like it was a little scary, but like it was so refreshing. It was such a new feeling that I had never.
yeah. Yeah, it is. It is a new feeling, but it was so exciting. It
Yeah.
was so exciting to be like, I'm not a slave to this anymore. I'm not a slave to what the world thinks. I'm not a slave to making sure everybody knows it's real. Did you go through that where it was like, all right, if I do it like this, it looks like a wig. So I have to do it like this so people see that it's real because I'm brown skin. And because I'm brown skin, nobody's gonna believe it's mine.
Mm,
And no matter how much I did it, there was always gonna be somebody who just wouldn't believe it was mine. Mind you, my light skinned friends could have weaves, tracks down their ass, and nobody's saying anything to them. But they, especially when you're teenagers are mean to each other,
mhm.
would say really mean things. And I'd be like, my hair is real, and not want to blow up my friend spot. Like, She's the one with the wig. She's the one with the weave.
Yeah.
Um, Weaves weren't as big a thing when I was growing up. It was the 80s. And the 80s, oh, a weave cost like $1,000.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of money. It was when I started going like in my 20s and 30s. That's when like people were starting to glue in their weaves and they started to wear more wigs. Wigs came even later than that. But
Hmm.
I was always trying to do things. I
Hmm.
see pictures where I always like pulled this part back and then this part came over and I'm like, that looks like a track. And you know, it's just so
Yeah.
stupid, but it was just like
Yeah.
I need to everybody to know that this thing that makes me special is not fake.
It's me.
It's not anything. It's me.
Yeah. I'm yeah, and that makes me think a lot about how I think it truly comes down to the racist stereotypical notions of like beauty and who gets to be beautiful with long hair and
Mhm.
be theirs. Like I
Yeah.
think there's this idea that like, and it just all just stems from like racism, systemic racism and all the things, but the idea that like, darker skinned women's hair is, nappy and not beautiful and it's not long, and so like,
Yeah.
but the closer you are to whiteness and your hair is longer and it's more acceptable. And so I think that's where a lot of those like messages stem from, and like people automatically assuming that like if you're brown skin or darker skin and your hair is longer, it's not yours, right? Because there's
Yeah.
this idea that like darker skinned black women can't have, long hair, long curly hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so difficult. It complicates our relationships with our hair so much. And
Absolutely.
we have to spend most of our lives like unlearning and then relearning
Mhm.
and like giving so much love back to ourselves and to our hair because the world is so cruel to
Yeah.
our hair. And so we have to like feed that love back into ourselves and to each
Yeah. Because if we don't give it to ourselves, then we have to explain it or feel
other.
the need to explain it. Oh, so what you mix with? Or are you
Right,
Dominican?
right.
Or like
Yep.
my family's Caribbean and I'm just about as mixed as everybody else, that kind of a thing. Because now you have to identify where the hair comes from in your family.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's such a long journey, but I think it's so beautiful when we get to the point of like, truly giving ourselves the space to like exercise hair autonomy in whatever way that means, loving on our hair, trying
Mhm.
things, and like being unapologetic in how we present and go about our relationship with our hair.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. And if you had told me that I would have went natural, cut all my hair off, um, and not care as much about my hair, I would have been like, I don't know if that could ever happen. And now I'm there and I'm like, yeah, it should have happened a long time ago.
mm-hmm. Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful journey. It's beautiful that we can like look back on it and think about it in that way.
Yeah. You know what I find though? Sometimes the impulse when I see somebody, not with long hair, but to explain sometimes that old person creeps up like, show them pictures of when your hair was really long. Show them pictures of hair when you were a little girl and you had,
Yeah,
waist length braids. It's
yeah,
like,
proving that.
yeah, wanting to show, let somebody have their moment. When they say they had long hair as a kid or they have long hair, just say it looks beautiful and walk on. Because
Yeah,
I used to hate that when somebody be like, oh, I hair like you. And they might have, but it's still that I don't know, but it was like,
yeah,
but now I'm the one that has to work through it and be like, it's beautiful and keep on moving and not using that to make me feel special anymore.
yes.
Because that's an old role I don't need to keep.
Yes, 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 definitely. Um, Thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing your story. Thank you for chatting with me. As always, it was such a beautiful, reflective conversation. And thank you again for just being a part of this journey with me and like choosing to speak with me about your hair story.
No problem. Thank you for having me. So,
Yeah,
if I could help other little dark skinned girls that feel like, oh my God, if my hair is not long, I'm not beautiful.